Yeah, don't... Oh. It's the same guy. We're up against the same deck. Oh.
Hi everyone, Boomer here, and welcome to another episode of Star Trek Adversaries. Put a little bit more effort into this one, I suppose. We're going to be examining a PvP game that I played recently. I am in command of my Miranda class control ship, and I'm taking on a quad style ship, which is a Klingon ship which bounces its own ships back to its hand. You'll have noticed my exasperation at the start of the game. That's because I had literally just finished beating this player, and in what was pretty much a long drawn out game, so I anticipate another one coming on here. I decided to select this match because it has an awful lot going on about it. The game is on a knife edge for an awful lot of the period that it's running, and you can see here my opponent has just made a turn 2 4-5 with Guardian, which is very disturbing for me. There's no way I can take this off the board immediately, so what I'm going to be left doing is pretty much gumming up the ground and hoping that I can draw into something that's going to assist me. The idea for my deck is that I am going to start a retreat war with Paris, and that will allow me to basically take over the game in the long term. But if my opponent comes at me a little bit too heavy, like is what's happening here, things can get pretty hairy for me. So I'm just going to try and stay in the game as best as I possibly can.
Yeah, it's mainly because it's not really... How can I put this? Yeah, I have to kill the...
I'm weary of the chase.
Armada 3's kind of... It takes absolutely ages to play one single game, and it requires a huge amount of editing, and it's a very long game. I might come back to it, but I've not got to admit, I've not played it for a very long period of time. So I'm honestly not sure what the meta's like or anything in that game, to tell you the truth at the moment. Now, I'm not even sure what's good anymore. I have seen...
With my opponent putting all his eggs in one basket here, I really need an answer to come off my deck, and yeah, that is a dirty, dirty answer in the form of advanced tactics. That's really put me in a fantastic position here, and I've basically just taken complete control back over the board. And now, one thing that does happen with the quad deck is that now my opponent's in a situation, does he take my shuttle off the board and risk losing his 3-1 or loses his 3-1, or does he pick up his 3-1, put it back down, and just leave me with my board where I have a deck which relies quite a bit on crew. So in this matchup, tempo means pretty much everything, and that's also why I was so scrambling as hard as I was to try and get board position back after my opponent came out of the gates like a truck.
I'm weary of the chase.
Do you just go face there? Yeah, it went face, picked it up. Okay. Gain 2 energy and Guardian. Cool. Cool beans. Quark or Paris? Quark or Paris? I think that it's Paris.
I've never been very good at playing by the rules.
I'll turn it into a 3-5. As he's going to make his a 5-4 this turn. Yep. And then it all depends what else he does with his turn.
Their shield will hold.
Nice.
This is a huge turn coming here, given that I had my Tuvok discounted earlier. The fact that I can now get a double retreat off him, essentially for a 2-mana discount, and that I can follow it up with, alright, it's only a 2-1, but it's still a threat to what's on the board, then that is a really huge turnaround to have 2 3-power modulated shield ships in play which can turn into sweepers and a full board now, especially compared to what was happening before. Now, with my opponent playing Quark, anything could happen here. It's one of the beauties of the card, but I think I'm just going to lose my 2-1 and hopefully... Ooh! Interesting, but hopefully this won't bite me too hard on this side, and because I've got all these ships with modulated shields on, I'm not too worried currently about what's going to happen, and as long as I can get that Quark off the table, it means that I can still win the fatigue game, which is where I'm going to start going now.
So that'd leave me with 7. If I retreat off this, I will be left with 5, so it's best to retreat off this.
Good customers are as rare as platinum.
Well, 7, take it away.
Fun will now commence.
I'm doing it on that because I've always got an emergency button in case something goes wrong with that. Merrimack's fine. Yes, well. 7, that's not fun. We need more fun. Ooh, hiss.
Rule the Empire together.
Anyone ever tell you you're an annoying whatever?
Terrorists don't get to be heroes.
Nice. Yeah, but we'll tree off. Fine. And make the old Guardian. Yeah, I'm actually. So he can't nick it. I'm actually just... Oh yeah, he can nick it. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm gonna retreat. Am I? Yeah, because I can play a 6-drop if I do that. Yeah, this is unfortunately a little bit of the dicking around phase that I'm a little bit worried about, but. I'm still trying to push for home, as it were. I'm actually fine with either outcome here, because if he trades into... Oh, he can't trade into that. I am a fool, he cannot trade into that.
Fun will now commence.
He's got the old 4. Okay. See how traitorous 7 is. Kill them, and off to the races we go again. He'll be able to ultimate this turn, but I'm still like miles ahead on board, so... Again, this is one of the problems with like retreat strategies and with the quad strategy as well, is that you can end up getting really far behind because you just don't have the time. But this turn he should be able to like tempo out onto the board and put me in trouble.
Rule the Empire together.
too terrible, but let's see what we get here. Good.
If there's a battle, we must join it.
Here I feel I've got a little bit greedy. Yes, Quark can assist in burying him, but I'm not going to be able to play stuff at this point, and leaving him with a 5-power ship in play is extremely dangerous. These sorts of decks, the Quad deck, can potentially make an absolute mess out of my field, and potentially they can also drop something like an augmented bird of prey and just put me on very close to dead. So I feel like I'm really playing with fire, not trading there, and I think that I kind of saw the gleam for Quark and just yeah, I think that was a mistake on my behalf.
And this is why people play NX decks. Yeah.
Pull the Empire together.
That was expected.
What a noble human.
Nice. Really nice. Really nice. Seem to be drawing patrol ships.
Nine phasers armed and ready, sir.
Okay, and one of these, I guess. Could do with seeing a Guardian or some health gain at any point.
I've never been very good at playing by the rules.
Okay, so what's his plan?
This is where things get extremely hairy for me. My opponent goes ahead and smashes into my 3-5 and gains himself a 3-2 with haste here. Now, spoiler alert, he's going to end this turn putting me to 3. He potentially could have put me to 1 by attacking one of my shuttles as opposed to my 3-5, but this goes to show how much that mistake that I made only 2 or 3 minutes ago could have cost me. I took 6 damage there where there wasn't really any need to. I also lost my 6-1 because he had a ship to play Baitor on. So because of that, this has snowballed to this situation where my opponent has actually drawn the extra energy card off his ability and has put me on 3 and could potentially put me on 1. So I was dead to a Maquis Raider, which he does have in his deck, or anything which does 1 damage. So yeah, I am very fortunate to still be alive here. I can say, yeah, my opponent missed a potential lethal, or at least, you know, very... I don't think there was a lethal there. I think it was very, very close, but it wasn't quite lethal. And as the title of the episode says, 1 is not enough. But on this occasion, I made things exceedingly difficult for myself. And I'm still scrambling like hell here because I need to find either some form of health gain or a Guardian or something along those lines. There is a Guardian. So with that plus Burnham, unless my opponent has some kind of direct damage like a Kazon Destroyer, I should be in the clear here.
Wow, he passed. Yes! Whee!
While very funny there, you'll also notice that he had that ship in hand last turn. And you'll also see, I think he plays another ship this turn as well. He had those in hand last turn and chose not to play them because they had no effect. And I think that that's a mistake that many players might make with ships that have enter the battlefield effects or deploy effects. They will simply keep them in hand and just ignore the fact that this game is about tempo for the vast majority of it. If he has a board presence, I may trade off and give him a chance to recover, whereas what's happened here is he's waited until he can, yes, he's got brilliant value from his 3-4, absolutely, but he's dead. So it doesn't matter how good the value you get if you're not going to live to see the end of it, then there's no point getting it. So I think that desperate times call for desperate measures. After I wipe his board, he has to put some kind of presence out, and when he skips his turn entirely, that's just, yeah, not great. One final hurrah here from him, strategic withdrawal, but yeah, he's still dead. So this game's going to be over soon, and thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.
Being afraid of everything.
I, in fact,
means you
do
learn
see
that
the lethal. Quark for the win!